Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome. It's that time of the weekend again, isn't it? It's Sunday, which can only mean one thing. Super Sunday here on Apex Racing TV, the double header of Weekend Warriors, kickstarting things with the Formula Fords. And this week we head to the UK, Alton Park, one of the quintessential national circuits here in the UK. We've got Samumi Kumo in the background making everything happen. I am Tim Cox, and well, what a season it has been so far. We've got cool temperatures, which is evocative of what we've experienced here in the UK this week. Fortunately, iRacing doesn't have rain. Otherwise, we would have gone full realism mode here in this series, as we always do. And well, of course, we've got the Formula Fords now. Later on, we'll be heading on to Japan, where the SRS will be taking on Fuji. But let's get stuck in things, and let's take a little look at the championship standings as we stand at the moment. Coming into, well, could you believe it? Round 6 already. The halfway marker in the championship and the season. And it's Overstreet who leads the way. And look at that, 79 points. Now the gap between herself and Lasky at this halfway stage. Green lies in third, and he's not too far behind Lasky. We've got Jesus Rodriguez in fourth. Now, if he's only been here for 3 rounds out of the 5 so far, that's what that number in the middle of the table there denotes. So just what could he achieve if he had been here for every single round? We then got Simon Mayer, Yatabino, who's a previous race winner as well into that mix. Of course, we run last time out at Okayama. And then we've got Giancarlo School, another previous winner as well. He won all the way back at Laguna Seca in round 1. Ferenz Arabian and Alan Degassis rounding out that top 10. Let's have a look across now into Spec 2. It's Tom Laurie who leads the way there. Really, really dominant, but that is because he's taken part in every round so far, even though his form this season has been absolutely outstanding as the Americans. Philip Fernandez, he lies in second with Joshua Flores looking at an all-American top 3. You can see, he's only taken part in 3 races. He's only 60 pounds for the other Josh. That's Josh Justice. He's been pretty much consistently since he came along. Richard Coffey is third, and then we've got Michael E. Head, and then Perky, Perkins, Kramer, and Wallbank and Lasorio to round out that side. And tell you what, it's that bottom and the table where it's really, really competitive. Across into the Masters, though, I tell you what, we've had some astounding racing from these guys this season. Hence why they've banked so many points. Jorg Marni leads the way in the Masters Championship, and that's well, of course, another winner. We're talking about wins at Laguna Seca earlier on, and well, he leads the championship. It's Yogmani, and that win in well, his only win actually so far. Apologies, at Laguna Seca. Jim Brewster, who's just been Mr. Consistent all season long, wasn't here last week, and let's have a quick look. I don't know whether he's here this week. I don't think he is. Shame on you, James. Shame on you. No, he is. Apologies. He's on the field, so great to see him. Alan DeGassis in there as well. In third, and then it's Ray, Walbolt, Antonio Rice. He's had real trouble this season, hence why he's languishing all the way down in 6th place. Rek, Love, Murakami. Of course, Andrew Love, another winner this season, but only been here for 3 races. And John Toms rounding out that top 10 there. And Antonio Racing Masters is on a 2-win race streak. He won, obviously, last time at Okayama in Masters. The week prior to that, 2 weeks ago at Phillip Island in Australia. Right now, he's top of qualifying for the Masters drivers in 3rd. Can he make it 3 wins from 3? Wow, that could be some achievement, definitely. And I think that's possibly even a Masters record as well, if he can pull that one off. Can he do it? Well, there's Yogmani this week, and that's normally his biggest threat. We do have a Chris Murakami. He tends to go better in the SRFs that we'll see later on here on the channel, but definitely not naming. You can't discredit. Ray's had a good season so far as well. As Jason Green goes 3rd there, just slotting in, displacing Ray, starting to 4th. However, they were still going to share row 2 of the grid. Now, newer names: Dominic Hamada. 2nd, he's come along and just lit up the timing sheet as the well, there's another newcomer, Michael McConnell. He's down in 6th, currently top in Spec 2. Can we make it a debut victory? That'd be interesting to see, as Ray there just goes up into 9th and onto the 5th row of the grid with Philip Fernandez. Those two currently 9th and 10th respectively. So just having a bit of a look through. Sabino's on a quick lap. Fastest is only one in sectors 1 and 3. A personal best in sector 2. I think we could see a strong time come in. Of course, he had an absolutely epic race last time out to carry himself all the way to victory at Okayama. I'm looking to do the same again. Talking of streaks, Meganova Street, 2nd for the last 3 races in a row. Road Atlanta, Phillip Island and Okayama. That's a nice little one. And, well, at the moment, she's starting 2nd. Can all the stars align? You never quite know. In fact, well, she's only, actually, she has just gone 2nd, hasn't she? Because we had Hamada lying there. She's just heading around the back of the circuit right now. Let's see what she can try and slot in there. Obviously, last time was 200ths faster than Hamada. Across the line we come. I'll tell you what, it's a real tricky circuit, this. Really, really deceptive, because there's lots of undulations off camera corners, bumps midway through the corner when you to the latter stages where you're trying to get the pile down. As Ray improving up into 7th there, just seeing her head down through Cascades. Now, as for track layout this evening, is the island circuit, so they get head halfway down Lakeside. You're just going to see them hook a right to head across to Hilltop. That's another tricky corner to get the power down out of. A little bit blind is the exit. So there's see Jim Brewster. He's going to come down for this section. No real visual marks either. Cues to pick out your braking spot. It's a real challenge for the drivers. I'd say it's probably, of the 3 layouts, the International, Island and Foster's, obviously going from longest to shortest. Island's probably the most tricky, just for getting that out. Down into Hislops now, because named after famous British esteemed superbike rider Steve Hislop. Through Knickerbrook. Best calling name in the world ever. Look that one up. More fun about and information about a gentleman called Blaster Bates. Have to be careful how you say that one. Setting through Druids now, this double right-hander, and again just drifting the car out wide. Watch out for that one. Opening stages. Driver's going to be on cold tyres. So easy to just get it wrong. Just get out onto the grass. It can really compromise you. Exit if you do, and you have to be careful of cars. Then not just shooting back across to the right. So easy to lose the rear end, but Overstreet getting faster. Under a tenth now between himself and Tabino. The Brazilian not having quite all his way right now. As the young American really on an absolute flyer in his closing stages of qualifying. We've got a minute and a half left on the clock, and it's a bit of a matter. So I know we tend to have a bit of a short start here. Start on the back straight tends to be. So what we're going to do is we'll just mention one of our sponsors. First off, we've got PDA, well, Precision Driving Analytics, they're better known. Now, Ray Phillips, their owner, has over 30 years of experience in motorsport and race open wheelers for almost 20 years of that. He's now found a new passion, helping others go faster and perfect their craft. He can fill the role of data and race engineer and also driver coach, while helping others get the most out of data and video systems. Now, Ray was a data engineer and a driver coach for a 2019 championship-winning Ferrari Challenge team, assisting multiple drivers on that's a championship-winning team. Now, PDA also sell a wide range of data and video equipment that can help everyone from high-performance driver education drivers to a professional driver or even a race team with multiple cars and drivers. Now, no matter what you choose, customers get the information they need to go faster and have a good time on track. The PDA can also not just help in the real world, but also sim racers as well, and help them stay within the limits while having a great time and going faster. Give them a shout and see what they're about. Head across to precisiondrivinganalytics.com. That's just in time for the end of qualifying. Checkered flag is out. Drivers who just got over the line before the checkered flag came out are able to complete their lap. So Brewster was saying now he will go again, so will Kane Lasky. Now he's having a real dismal qualifying right now, all the way down in 10th position. Struggling by his own high standards, that is for certain. So onto the brakes, really needs to dig something out here. Dig deep, this is the American. I'll tell you what, talking of Americans, got largely represented this field. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 out of the 21 starters are not from Freedom Isle. As Murakami improves, he goes 8. Talking Americans, so Green just displaces Hamada to go 3rd. So he still remain on the 2nd row. Lasky just out the back of the circuit now, coming onto the brakes, just trying to flick it in, balance the car on an absolute nice edge, dance it through Druids, and now it's the race down to Lodge Corner. Pick your braking marker. This is a tricky part. Just this. Going to crest the hill. The car wants to drift wide. You can't pick the outside exit. And across the line, what is it going to be for Lasky? Is he going to improve? Currently 10th. And it's a 1:27.7. So it's an improvement in time, but he remains in 10th place. No improvement whatsoever. Lasky will start on the 5th row unless someone behind him, which I think everyone's pretty much across the line and done. There's Michael McConnell abandoning his last lap there. That's a great debut qualifying for the Spec 2 driver. So top in class, 5th overall, 3rd row of the grid as Sander Verbruge. It's having a little bit of a excursion there. Coming up for you very shortly. After the end of qualifying, we've got 40 minutes of racing. A bit different to what you tend to see in the officials. And there we go, just transitioning across right now. So yes, 40 minutes of racing coming up for you. There is a pit stop involved. The drivers do have one fast repair if it does all go wrong. And wow, open wheelers at Alton Park, you never quite know. Here is your grid. Tabino starts on pole with Overstreet sharing the front row with the Brazilian. Row 2, it's Jason Green and newcomer Dominic Hammonda. Another newcomer and top of Spec 2, it's Michael McConnell. He shares row 3 with top qualifying Masters, it's Antonio Race. But Fernandez and Murakami make up another Spec 2 and Masters row directly behind for row 4. And row 5, that's Stevie Ray and Kane Lasky. The All Masters row is row 6, it's Alan Degassis and Jim Brewster. Row 7, that's his Tom Laurie, your championship leader in Spec 2, line up alongside Gary Waldbolt. Matthew Briggs, another newcomer to the series of .exe esports, as Franz Reck for company on row 8. 8. Apologies, I had to think about that one then. Jess Jackson and Trina Kramer make up for row 9, with row 10 in the top 20 being rounded out by Joshua Flores and Manuel Binder. Of course, that's Binder even. That's a newcomer as well, is Manuel, to the championship. And finally, not taking a time in qualifying, so we'll start from the back of the grid. It's Sander Verbruge, last 21st, row 11. All to themselves. And we'll just take it to the grid, lining up behind the Porsche 911 safety car. And I'd say it was a good job. We did mention PDA earlier on because it is the short start, which do tend to get here. Alton Park starting on that back straight away. Now, mention to another one of our sponsors. It's Arrive Drive Motorsports. Now, welcome to your ultimate racing experience. Arrive Drive Motorsports is a full-service road racing prep shop specialising in Formula and sports races. And now they're now offering full Arrive and Drive services in F1600, F2000, F1000 and S5000, or even your own car. Are you ready to take your driver development to the next level? From F1600 to V8 open wheel monsters, Arrive Drive will maximise your potential and accelerate your development with up to 100 races per year in up to 6 different race cars. Are you ready? Well, then you need to head to ArriveDriveMotorsports.com. Porsche 911 safety car just obviously moving off there, all the drivers heading off behind that one. Well, looks like they've get allowed it to have a bit of a head start, and Tabino really backing up the park here, beginning the mind games before we've even begun here at Alton Park. Heading down towards the, well, it's technically, a lot of people classify as the final corner. Actually, it's the penultimate corner. It's Lodge. Winding up. Will Tabino go early? Thinks about it a little bit, just builds up, and then gets on the gas as Let's Get Ready to Go Racing in round 6 of the Weekend Warriors Formula Ford as we are green and we are go. And that not really works out for Tabino as everyone's stacked up behind him. Will we get through turn 1 okay? Well, at the front they have, but green under a lot of pressures right now. Helmet Rice all over its rear ends as we steam all the way down to Cascades through Denton's. Needs to be careful on that outside line, so easy to lose the rear end on board with Murakami. Now that's Lasky ahead of us, who's made up 4 places despite his shoddy qualifying by his own standards. That is an astounding start from the American. Oh, there's someone just on our inside. Is that McConnell just suddenly going to appear? Yes, it is. He is there, but Murakami's going to get a much better exit than McConnell, who's had not the best. He's dropped 3 places. Fernandez dropped 4. Franz Rex dropped 3, so some big losers out of that. People shuffling up, but it's all that start from Lasky's up 3. Oh, there's a big collision down at Hislop's. Oh, and that's Laurie involved. Your championship leader in Spec 2. DeGassis, Walbolt, Jacobson, who's there having a bit of an excursion going rally crossing. Don't have a rallycross circuit here at Alton Park, although Jacobson trying to make one there. It's up the hill, go 2 other newcomers. That's Binder and Verbruge. I'm heading now for the back of the circuit out through Druids. That's really sort of spaced out the rear of the pack right now. Meanwhile, up front, they're at it again. Tabino and Overstreet to head through Old Hall, down the avenue towards Denton's now, flicking in right. And this is all about just biding your time right now for Overstreet. She's tucked in behind Tabino right now. And oh, that's Jeff Jacobson into the pits. Well, we did see him rally crossing earlier on. And maybe that's a little part of it right now. And what we're experiencing. Oh dear, that's Flores off. And oh, that's Binder. That's such a shame. One of the newcomers to this series, and wow, not what he would have hoped for whatsoever. So it's a bit of carnage near the rear of the field, but up front, oh wow, how Stevie Ray there somehow with Brewster having to take evasive action, and that's going to leave them to dragging out all the way up the hill. So we head out through Clay Hill, through Watertower towards Druids, and they're still side by side. Brewster on the outside there, trying to get it done, can't think twice about it, backs off That's going to compromise him on the exits. Here comes Fernandez alongside. And is he going to make a bit of a move? Shapes it up, thinks twice about it, tucks back in once again. Oh, race around in front. Oh no, and that's going to put Brewster course up, collects Ray. It looks like they've got away with it in terms of damage. Look at the replay right now. A bit of a moment there, so we can see exactly. This is going to pan out for Ray. Loses the rear, round he goes, and well, Brewster nowhere to go. Oh, good news, viewers. Now joined by a very familiar voice to this series, Charles Michelle. Welcome along.
Hi, Tim. Happy Spa Day.
Oh yes, definitely. Wow. Yeah. I mean, congrats to many of those who've taken part in that this weekend, or maybe not congratulations. And there's a few people off for a cold beverage, or just go and sit in a dark room for a little bit while they recover from what they experienced.
Absolutely. An interesting race here going on to beat on Overstreet. Handler, I believe, is a new driver for the series. Is that right?
He is indeed. Yes, indeed. Currently on the podium as well on your debut. That's not a bad result indeed. And behind it, pretty much it's all business as usual with Antonio Race leading Masters. But newcomer Michael McConnell is currently 3 right now. But the top 2 really starting to just break away, just eke that out by a few tenths each lap. And that's why we're seeing this 2 seconds gap now between Hamada and our top 2. Bit of a moment for Overstreet there, but equally Torpedo just running out onto the grass too, so he's a bit compromised as well.
Yeah, that was a case of Overstreet taking a little too much throttle on the, coming into the corner, maybe a little bit too much on the brakes, and then Tobino not enough on the brakes and carrying too much speed out of the corner, which is one of the reasons this track is so much fun, because there's a lot of runoff, but that runoff is grass and or dirt, so it's not necessarily where you want to be.
I'll tell you can tell how captivated I am by the action. I've just completely and utterly missed my mouth and my drink, and let's face it, it is big enough, my mouth. So, this is going to be fascinating between our top 2, and whether we see a bit of an undercut maybe, or go for the overcut, you never quite know, really. Although after speaking to Overstreet last week, I mean, she said she tends to just keep going as long as she can and see what happens. I mean, I would imagine it's going to be the same sort of story here yet again, and definitely appearing by that little bit of a mistake last time round. She's the faster of the 2 between herself and Tobino. Lasky, he's had a cracking start though, hasn't he? As I mentioned earlier on, so he's made a 5th place after starting down in 10th. Struggling in qualifying, but just picked everyone off left, right, and centre. Great progress early on lap 1, where he picked up 4 of those places, but it's slowed down a little bit since then. Antonio Rice, the car just in front of him, and well, if Lasky can keep this momentum going with him, it's only when, not if.
Yeah, obviously moving up from the 10th spot up to top 5 is a great run to start the race. And as you were saying, Overstreet's she's really improved her game this season. Last season and season before, I called her Miss Consistent because she was consistently quick, but she was always around the top 10 at the end of the race. This season, I mean, she's always vying for a podium every race. So she's having a great season so far. And yeah, I don't know that undercut is the best strategy here, because I think it's just going to be too easy to get caught up behind a slower car. These cars are not huge, but this is not a big track, and it's going to be tough to find a place to get around. There's only really a couple of good points here, some good heavy braking zones that you can make moves. I'm not sure that the undercut is the right strategy this week.
No, only 2.2 miles, that's 3.6 kilometers in length, this variant of it. And which is your favourite? The International, the island we're on now, or the short Foster's circuit?
You know, I think I'm a full. I like the full layout. I don't necessarily know that I like both the chicanes because they are quite technical, and I'm used to driving. You know, I think I don't know if it's my strong suit or not, because I'm not sure I have a strong suit in my racing, but I'm much more of a GT driver, and those chicanes are very tight for GT cars. Even if you're using like a GT4s or something like that, it's just really technical. But the layout you were talking about, the international without the chicanes, where you're driving LMP2s at at max pace, using all that downforce, that seems like the layout I would appreciate.
I definitely, it's this one that I enjoyed. Just certainly that first one at Britain's, just kill off the momentum on the along the circuit. As you see, Tom Lorry right now just engaged in a bit of a battle. Well, he is the sandwich of Brewster and Wallbolt, two Masters drivers either side of them, and Brewster down in 4th in class right now. Degassis ahead of him. He's up in 11th overall. Murakami 8th overall. Antonio Rice 4th overall. But crew, bit of smoke there. And who is that around? Oh, there's 2 around. Wallbolt's around as well. And I think Trenton Kramer, the other driver.
Yes, that's the place. Once again, we were talking about the heavy braking points. That's one of them going into that second chicane, or the only chicane that we're using for this layout. You have to you have to work your way down. As we see Kramer coming down into that corner, into that chicane, and just loses the rear. Just carries too much speed. Probably a little late on entry, and then we get a little sympathy spin from Wallbolt behind. And so, yeah, that's one of those heavy braking zones that you have to get right, every lap. That is a good passing area, but obviously those 2 cars weren't in a passing position. It was just a driver error.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
What a move from the outside from Matthew Briggs.
Outside of turn 1, that's a fantastic move. You have to be just inch perfect out there because there's a little bit of, I guess, AstroTurf out there to kind of to expand that corner, but it's a very fine line.
I mean, I'm left speechless.
Agreed.
By that one.
I agree with you.
When you see him go too wide round there, that is certainly an open wheelers. It only ends in tears and broken suspension and steering wheels pointing at 90 degrees just to get the car going in a straight line. But Briggs, I mean, hold my beer, watch this type moment. Around the outside goes the Brit at his home race of the season. Ironically, the only Brit in the field. He's up 5 places inside the top 10, and now with that move, down to Gassis. And wow, I mean, normally it's the inside and then just squeeze them out wide a bit and normally compromise their exit, but no, he get his foot right in there. As Antonio Rice in quite early, he will get to the end on 12 minutes complete so far, but he bails early to take on some petrol, so that's definitely not qualifying fuel. So maybe it's a bit of a gap on that on track, which there will be at this early stage that you can get into and get some decent lap times in. There's Ray in 2.
Yeah, okay, so these are our, Reyes is going to be our undercut watch list here as the first driver in. We're going to see if he finds a way to, looks like there's a gap coming out between Flores and Bender. So we'll see, we'll see what, what he can do working this traffic back here. It's going to be tough, but, Race obviously is a very good driver. He's always at the sharp end, almost every race. So, if, anybody can do it, it would be him.
I think you're smack on there, Charles. If anyone can do it, like you say, he will be the guy to get it done. And, well, we'll find out in some, 27 minutes time and a bit of change. Whether that undercut has worked for him already, pretty much onto the back of Flores, who's equally catching straight up onto the back of Verbruge, ahead of him too. Who's going to get this one? Who's going to, can he? Oh, Murakami into. So clearly another driver electing for the early stop, and this is going to be a good early acid test as whether that lap earlier was the right move for race.
Yeah, Murakami, I think this is just in response to Race because they're both battling for the Masters class win. So you see the lead driver in that class coming into the pit with an undercut strategy. Sometimes you just have to match that and see how it works out. So we'll see, because he's got a little bit of work to do to get back up there, but he's going to have a lot of clean track. This may be good for him. This may be a good strategy call.
It has come up so Murakami only just heading out right now. So that is Murakami stationary for quite a while, Charles. 32 seconds.
Yeah, it's true, but he's got a lot of open track. He's got almost, as we see him coming out, yep, just gets out in front of Ray and Bender. So he's got about 18 or 19 seconds of clear track in front of him. And so we'll see what happens from there.
Wow, he's lost. Man, that's going to really harm him. So he's lost 15, 16, 17 seconds from that extra time that he stopped. I'm wondering whether he took tyres as well. But, I mean, there's no need to. I mean, in terms of track temperature, very, very low here today. 24 degrees Celsius, which is what? About 78, 84, somewhere in that window, even if that.
Yeah, it's not. It looks like looking at it, very overcast day. Looks like typical British weather, at least as close as we can simulate in our racing currently. So cool track temps and overcast. The temperatures stay down. So yeah, I'm not sure about. Did he take tires?
We're about to find out. Simile onto it, and I don't know. Doesn't look like it, but it's a weird one. I mean, because it's not long enough to be done for speeding in the pits. There's no tyres going on there. It's Tom Laurie and another driver in very, very early on. Now, Laurie's had a bit of an eventful race, our leader in the Spec 2 Championship, and he comes out in 16th place. That's just seeing Bruce now to fend off Trenton Kramer behind him. The battle for 10th place. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of drivers electing for that early stop today so far. I mean, what our top guys and girls do remains to be seen. I mean, I imagine there we go, 77 Fahrenheit or 77 Freedom.
That's right.
To give it your official name.
Yeah, that's about what would we say, 24, 25 C. So yeah, I mean, you're not going to ask for much better weather than that. As far as track temp is concerned. So, yeah, just weird because, like you said, I didn't catch the fact that Murakami was in there for an extra 15 seconds. So I'm not really sure what's going on. That's kind of odd.
No, I mean, if it's all fuel, then wow. I mean, that car's going to be like. It's certainly not going to be as light as a water boatman, let's put it that way. It's going to be more like a tank. And Brewster now under a lot of pressure from Kramer, who moves to driver's left onto the brakes. There you go. Can he make it stick around the outside? Kramer has to break out of it, but he's going to get the better exit out the corner and the run up the hill and then descend down on board with Trenton, the Ohio driver. Backing out of it there. I'm surprised by that one. I thought we would have seen a big send down into hill slops here in the braking zone, and it would have been Kramer up into 10th, but likes to back out of it.
Yeah, maybe he's playing a little fuel strategy game. Maybe he thinks that's the right move. But yeah, just didn't really force the issue there. So he's going to reset and ride around for another lap, look for other opportunities to make a move.
Bouncing
as
across.
We see there. Right there. Good spot. Brewster drops down a position as Kramer gets by on the inside.
And I think Brewster just caught the grass on the exit there. He's under a lot of pressure, and then Kramer slow off of Lodge Corner there as they head through DLE. These two really ebbing and flowing, and that's Matthew Briggs into the pits there. You just hear the sirens of the pit entry lane going off. New fastest lap from Hamada last time around. The driver currently in third, one of our newcomers. Our top two still nose to tail, pretty much. 3 temps is what's separating them, and has been for the entirety of the last 18 and a half minutes that we're up to here from Alton Park. And this is another close battle. Connell on green. Green, I mean, did well in qualifying, but it's just been a bit meh as you'd sort of say in the UK. It's just not quite worked out for him. There's just nothing necessarily bad about it. It's just not what he would have hoped for necessarily.
Yeah, he's just not really making any moves. We saw Lasky was in P5 a few laps ago. He's now passed Green's up to P4. So Green's just, he's still in the top 5, so he's still having a good race, but no really challenging for leading positions, and is just kind of dropping a couple of tenths here and there to the lead group.
Let's just look at so of drivers that have stopped so far. Antonio Race leads that battle. He's currently 12th overall. And got 1.9 seconds to Wall Bolt in front of him, and then another half the gap to Brewster. I'm not sure whether this is necessarily going to work out for him, as I think something's happened to our friend's wreck. Binder's still into the pit lane. So still in the pits even. So he heads out. I think maybe repairing a bit of damage here. Not a debut he would have certainly hoped for, as Tom Lorry having to back out of it there, luring Murakami and Ray through. All 3 drivers have stopped, so the only I can guess is just maybe a really slow exit for Tom Lorry that's left him vulnerable massively, although he maybe got a bit of a problem because Ray and Murakami just seem to have sailed past and already grown out a bit of a gap of half a second.
That is what it looks like. It definitely looks like there was a problem there. Maybe he just, as you said, maybe missed the corner. Had to just give it up a little bit and allowed Ray and Murakami to sail by. Murakami's not really, he's not really making up any time. He's actually dropped a couple of seconds to the lead group since his pit stop. And so it's just going to be tough sledding. I think that we're going to see that. We'll see how the rest of them check out, because I'm looking at Reyes. He's in P12. He's 38 seconds off the lead. Based on what I'm seeing on timing and scoring, it was a 37-second pit stop. So this may have worked out for him. He's going to be really close if everything, if the pit stops go the way they normally go, where you'll see him a couple seconds quicker. He may have made the right strategy call. As we see Wobalt coming in to give him that spot, he's up to P11. So this may be a good strategy after all.
Yeah, it looks like it's turned out absolutely perfectly for Race, because now he's got a hefty gap of, about 12 seconds of fresh air between himself and Brewster, who is 3rd. But it's all about that battle, isn't it? For 15th right now, Murakami, Ray, Laurie, all caught up in that. Briggs, too, who's looked quick all weekend. Let's see Antonio Race there just heading through. And let's have a look. In terms of his race pace right now, so last time around, who's that off? Oh no, that's Lasky off. Oh, well, that's
wow.
Going for it. So poor in qualifying by his own standards. Started 10th. Oh wow, there's even big. That's an even bigger incident, because look at that's Briggs involved, Ray involved, Murakami. Well, wrestling with the car to get it back onto the track. What's happened there between all them? Just cut back to him, and then all of a sudden said, "This is Lasky." This just looks like he's going to lose it by himself through Druids, maybe understeer off mid-corner. Oh, touch the grass on entry.
Yeah, that is, it's, as we say, once you're in the grass, you become a passenger. You're no longer the driver, and you're at the whims of iRacing at that point. I want to see if there's contact here between these 2 cars.
I mean, if it's not, his sympathy spins.
No.
Yeah. Wow. No, yes, but yes on that one. And then Briggs as well. I'm guessing he must have taken. Well, he's slow, really slow, and he was part of that. So I'm guessing he just threw out the anchors in anticipation of what was going to happen around him. So okay, so here's on board with Briggs. So he was that little bit further back. Oh well.
No. That was another one of those sympathy spins. He just kind of got on the brakes too hard and lost the rear end of the car. I kind of see. I was looking at Murakami to see if maybe that right rear touched the grass also, which helped him move around and spin right in front of Ray. Kind of what it looks like. I didn't get a great angle from it, but that's kind of what it looked like to me.
Yeah, it touched the grass and around he went, and well, clearly had to come in and repair that damage from the contact with Ray. Oh, it's just not gone Murakami's way, has it?
Has not. No, it's just been it's gone from bad to worse for him today.
Yeah, that poor pit stop, and now goes a lap down. Well, massively a lap down because that's Jason Green and McConnell. He's slow. Tried to run it in deep to allow them all past, and in doing so, oh, it's two laps in a row. Same corner, cascades. Wow, this luck is cascading away right now, isn't it? And he's now down at 20th.
Yep, some days it just doesn't pay to get on the track, and this is kind of one of those days for Murakami.
I think he might have wished he stayed in bed after this one. I think it's just everything's just all gone against him, hasn't it? And such a shame for Murakami. Well, he's in that cracking battle. Meanwhile, well, these two up front, still exactly how we left them a few laps ago while we're watching all the excitement and drama further down through the field. Although, well, actually, no, I lied. They're now a tenth closer. Although, maybe she's just backing that one out to nearly the 3 times they were originally. But I think, late call.
Yep, Tabino into the pit. This is about the midpoint of the race. This is when the majority of the drivers will come in. Overstreet, as we, as you said, we talked to her last week, and she says I'm staying out as late as I can. So that's kind of what we expect to see from her.
Well, as well, will have fuel saved masses by following Sabino for so close for so many laps. They completed 17 laps so far here from Alton Park. So just how much further can she go? I think she might even be able to run this well past the half an hour mark potentially. It's all going to get determined, I think, from back markers. I think that's Gary Walbolt just ahead of her. Yes, that is. She's also going to come up onto the back of Jakeson, although when you're the leader, it does make it a little bit easier to facilitate those moves, because nobody wants to be known for taking out the leader, do they?
No, absolutely not. That's the one thing you don't want to have happen is the leader come to make a lap on you, and then all of a sudden you get collected or collect them. So I'm looking at the gap now. The gap's 4.5-ish seconds between Tabino and Reyes. So pretty sure that's a tightening of that gap, and so now Tabino's got to work that traffic as well for the rest of the races as they start peeling off and pitting. So we'll see if that gap tightens up even a little bit more.
Well, Overstreet getting the hammer down right now, 127.19. And yeah, Race he's been competitive. He's been going matching, if not going slightly faster over the last few laps compared to Overstreet and Tabino. So that's why that gap has closed up. Philip Fernandez into the pits from 6th position, currently 2nd in class. And I think will even remain so, although Joshua Flores, who does go past him, is still yet to stop. And there's Tabino, so he's through. And well, talking of yet to stop, our top 7 so far. All yet to visit the pits, and neither has Flores or the Bruges. That's also, well, there you go. There's one of them in, Flores in.
There you go. So yeah, Tabino is just basically, he's got Brewster on his radar as he's approached him. He's about 3 seconds back. He's really hoping, I think, that Brewster's pitting before he gets there, so he's not trying to make on-track passes. That keeps that gap between him and Reyes stable. Obviously, the tenths fluctuating here and there, but what he doesn't want to have happen is a side-by-side with another car after he's pitted and they're still yet to pit.
And up to 8th now, best of the rest. Obviously, not allowing for pit stops that have happened, and well, it's going to be interesting when they cross the light to get a full proper lap in as to what sort of pace Sabino is carrying, although with a heavy car, got to imagine will be slower than Overstreet as Degassis in from the lead of Masters. Actually, is Brewster going to follow in? No, queues again, does Jim Brewster.
Yeah, that gap back to Bino's down to 2 seconds. So, yeah, so Brewster, I'm sure Tabino's thinking, all right, guys, you got to pit here soon. I don't want to have to do this, but
Well,
make everybody's life easier.
you say 2 seconds, just literally in the space of you talking, it's already half a second gone out of that. 1.5 seconds now the gap. That's, I mean, in the space of what is technically only 2 proper corners, because a lot of them, you know, the Avenue and Dentons are just kinks. Tabino taking out half a second through Brewster. Just there alone, another 10th on the exit out of Britain's as well. Down on the brakes here, there's another 4 temps gone as well. He's easing up for breakfast as leaders in. Overstreet is in. Wow, we get to find out now. Hammander in 2 and, well, pretty much the half an hour mark by the time they get out of the pits anyway. Green in, McConnell in. I imagine Lasky and Brewster are going to be in too.
It should be very close, right? It should be time for everybody to come in and finish off the get their pit stops. Tank should be fairly close to dry at this point. It's normally, I think we said 31 minutes is about most tracks, about as far as you can go, as we see Brewster coming in. So that kind of worked out for Tabino, so he's got clean track again. The lap time between him and Overstreet, as we see her, looks like she has made the overcut work. By quite a bit, yeah.
Just letting it balance out. Look at that, 4 seconds, Charles. That's a frightening difference.
Yeah, it was. Well, the difference was the pit lane time was 3.3 seconds faster for Overstreet. So that is where most of that time came from. But, you know, once she got in clean air out after Tabino pitted, they were basically running, you know, the same, you know, equal pace. So she wasn't letting up just because she didn't have a rabbit to chase there for a few laps.
Wow. I think that's bar complete catastrophe. It's going to carry Overstreet all the way to victory here with 1/4 race distance complete, and with everyone taking their stops. Take a bit of stock. So your top 3 overall at Overstreet, Tabino and Hammander. Wow, what a great debut for the German, man out of Central Europe. Amazing stuff. As 4th is Jason Green, then it's your leader in Masters, Antonio Race. Another great debut is Michael McConnell. He's in 6th place, leader in Spec 2. Then it's Kane Lasky. And after that spin, it's really hurt him dearly because he was running in 5th. He's dropped down to 7th, but still up 3 places from where he started. Then it's Philip Fernandez, 2nd in class in Spec 2, and 2nd in class and Degassis in Masters 2. He's on for, I think, which is his best result of the season. I will need to double check my stats for that one, though. Yes, it is, and in fact, I don't think he's been on the podium all season either, so that definitely will be a season best. There's another newcomer, Matthew Briggs, just trying to fend off Stevie Ray. Right out those podiums, Trenton Kramer, he's around at your top 10, up 8 positions overall, having started 18. Great drive from him to get onto the in-class podium. Brewster rounding out the Masters podium. And, well, Ray, one of the ones that's suffering a bit during the pit stop phase. Briggs has had an eventful one, hence why he's all the way down in 13th. But still up 2 places, though, is the Brit. I think even so will be well remembered for that beautiful move around the outside. And Ray is knocking on the door, but just can't seem to find a way past the Brit right now. Bit of local knowledge definitely coming involved here. Although around the outside, will he get this one undone on the traction on the exit of the corner? Wow, I mean, these two still side by side.
Yeah, great battle here. Ray obviously came in through turn 2 really hot. Had to kind of back off a little bit, and maybe that kind of held him up from making that pass in Islands. But yeah, great battle side by side. Everybody driving clean. Love to see it.
And in the end, Briggs manages to hold that one off. Wow. Beautiful British Racing green livery as well too to boot. This is one of the closest battles on track right now. The other one being green is being harassed right now. I think it's the only way to describe it by Antonio Race. 2 attempts between these two, trading near identical lap times as well. Just an insult to injury. That gap between Overstreet and Tabino has grown again. Now it's a 5.2 seconds. As Green just about defends this one, just about keeps on turning race at bay. But for how long, Charles?
Yeah, Reyes is just like he's a man on a mission at this point. I think he wants to get back up into the top 4, and just looking for that line. Is where's he gonna make the pass? He's gonna do it coming through turn 1. He's gonna do a nice outside move. He's gonna wait till he gets down to islands and hard on the brakes. Seems like he's done that a couple of times during this race. So we'll see what happens.
Here we go. Let's find out. Prediction time. Has it come true? I'd say maybe a little bit too far back. Yes. Oh, That's something else. Oh, Lasky's into the pits. Oh no, that's all gone badly for him. Oh, that's a real shame. To have to make a second stop of the day. There he is, and I thought the car's up onto the jacks. No, it's not quite. It's just a bit of a look I've got through the fencing here at Alton Park. Agree, still trying to defend this one. Desperately, and I mean, he's slow. He seems slow off every corner. Compromise left, right, centre. There's Raisin too. I did see he'd had a bit of an incident, so maybe that's all part of it. It's a shame for him he's had to stop twice as well. There's a few drivers out there have done so. Jeff Jacobson being the other one. He stopped much earlier on. Well, I think
that's tough for Lasky. Obviously, he just had a good run going, and then have to make that right. So he's getting good runs onto the straightaways that head into the braking zones. So there's really just he's basically cutting off the opportunities for Reyes to make a move, and that's pretty much all you have to do right here. I mean, you know, it's you can run defensive lines, but as long as you're getting the runs where you need them, you can keep a car behind you for the rest of the race. Very, very Fernando Alonso-like strategy.
As there is Ray. Is that a drive-through, maybe? Oh no, I think fast repair maybe. I think would have been for him.
Yeah, I think so. 1.7 stoppage. So he did stop. So yeah, it looks like a fast repair.
Overstreet's just heading past to put a lap on Ray. And there's Tabino, who has, I tell you what, closed up but taken a bit of time. He's taken about, I think about 8/10 out of Overstreet. The gap was out to about 5.2, now only 4.3. So that'll make that 9/10 in fact. And Overstreet just getting held up by this traffic. However, once she is clear of it, Tabino's then got to try and pass it all anyway. So it's that bit of net gain, net loss, and well, I think, you know, surely with 2 minutes left on the clock, so it's not going to be white flag this time around, but it will be next time around. It's looking okay for Overstreet at this stage of the race. Meanwhile, these two still inseparable, aren't they? Still inseparable.
They are indeed. Yeah, I think it's you know, when you're working through lap traffic, you lose a little bit and then you'll gain a little bit as the cars behind have to do the same thing. You don't want contact. You just want people to kind of, you know, be generous with the lines and give you a chance to get clear. As long as everybody does that, I think you're right. I think this is Overstreet's to lose. As we see Kramer with another little spin in the chicane there.
I think Lasky might have been part of that as well, because he's had an incident at exactly the same time. And we've got a replay, and I think this is going to give us all the answer. And there's Lasky. Although, of course, he had bricks in front of him, didn't he? So
he did. Briggs catches that. He almost lost the rear.
I think maybe just where he ran so deep. I think our system's just showing he had a bit of an incident when in fact he maybe didn't, because Briggs and Lasky still nose to tail. And in fact, well, this is another intriguing battle. We've got the two, haven't we? We've got the green race battle. Oh, well, there you go. That solves one of them, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Yep. You could kind of see it as on corner entry. Just too much speed. Had to go hard on the brakes, and I think he just slid through the exit and just gave Lasky the inside line, and it was a nice, easy pass. Of course, that drops Briggs It drops him 3 spots, not just the one, because Flores and Wobalt have also gotten by him.
There's them two sailing on through. Talking of sailing through right now, Overstreet coming around to take. Is that gonna be? Yes. Oh, just in the nick of time, gets across the line to take the white flag. That was, I think, 1 second to spare by my recollection there, Charles. I read that.
It was very close. It's very close indeed.
Now, equally, who's got enough fuel on board? Because we're going an extra lap here that some drivers might not have foreseen.
Yep. Looking at the pit stop times, I think everybody should be good. I can't see anybody that just looked like they maybe took a little bit less than the rest. So I think everybody should be good. That was a good lap by Tabino, just set the fastest lap of the race, 126.88. So he is doing his best to try and close that gap.
Yeah, I think it's all a little bit in vain, though, isn't it? It's too late. Unless Overstreet gets caught up in this last final few corners, only about a quarter of the circuit left to go for our top two. Overstreet just sat behind Murakami, just needs to bring this one home. In fact, Murakami might be wise to let Overstreet pass so he doesn't have to do one more lap of this. I thought it's been a torrid race for the American. And there you go, does so. But to come across the line, the first winner of the season, it is Megan Overstreet. Congratulations to her. Breaking that 3 second places in a row to go one better finally with the victory. And well, that's Antonio Rice pipping Jason Green at the line by 1/10.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that seems like the story of the last half of the race, with those cars were about a tenth of a second apart for seemed like 10 laps.
That's Michael McConnell, your winner in Spec 2. What a debut for him. That's an absolute cracker, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolute
great race by
cracker.
McConnell.
There is DeGassis coming home, second place in class. Actually, I think it's the first time we've had him on the podium this season. So, also making 3 wins in a row in Masters for Antonio Race too. So, that's a dominant stretch of form for him.
Kramer with P3 in the in Spec 2, and Brewster with P3 in the Masters class.
And good return for
Yeah,
so we didn't have Brewster last time, did we?
We did not have Brewster last time, and we didn't have York Monty this time. So I'm not sure how the points are going to stack up after those last 2 weeks.
Well, no, it's I imagine this. It's a bit tricky to tell as well, because it's based on your points on an overall position. So yeah, that's going to be a fascinating one to try and work that one out. Who's going to be on top between those two? I think the impression is going to be incredibly close between those two. Wow, everyone really across the line now. We'll be able to bring up some official results very shortly. What a drive. So many of them. Just tucking in there. Sounds very up 2 places. Had a bit of an eventful race with the Benelux driver, but got there in the end. Finish up 2 spots here. There we go. Here are your classified results. So Overstreet with the victory, and the first one this season for her. Artipino in the end had to settle for second. Dominic Hamner on his debut, great result for him to finish 3rd overall. Then it's Antonio Rice with his 3rd win in a row in Masters. Jason Green is in the end 5th. Michael McConnell comes home as your winner in Spec 2, with Philip Fernandez in the end having to set up for 2nd, and 2 seconds in a row for him. Then it's Andy Gassis 2nd in Masters. Trenton Kramer 3rd in Spec 2, 9th overall. Jim Brewster rounding out your top 10 and picking up that 3rd place in Masters. There's Tom Laurie, who, well, he would have been right up there in Spec 2 if it hadn't been for issues for him. Kane Lasky, well, we saw what happened to poor Kane after that great start, poor qualifying, great start, and then still fell apart for him during the race. Gary Walbot 13th, then it's Matthew Briggs, who could have been on for a good result if it hadn't been for that late spin. Joshua Flores, last driver on the lead lap in 16th, with Murakami, Ray, Rek, Verbruge, and Jason one up down. One retirement, that's Manuel Binder, who we lost back in 17 with the 28 laps. Well, let's have a bit of a chat to some drivers. First off, well, as I mentioned previously, 3 seconds in the row. Finally, Megan, after knocking at the door, you go one better. You come in with the victory.
Yeah, second win of the season. I'm real happy.
Of course, was it Willow Springs? Because I missed that round, you see.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So that's why it's missing out of my notes. So there's me pumping up first win of the season, but it's not. But I mean, even so far this season, you haven't finished on the You've not finished on the podium. Not. You know what I mean. If every race you've been on the podium, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, I've been very consistent this season, which I'm really happy with.
And I mean, Charles spoke about this during the commentary, and said always miss consistent, always inside that top 10. But this season, you just sort of elevated yourself, and it's now, well, as I mentioned, every round you've been on the podium. What do you think's contributed to that?
I'm just getting better and better with each season that I do. I'm trying to make as few mistakes as possible and use my head a whole lot more than I used to.
Well, that is definitely a good way to do it. And well, congratulations. Are you heading across to Japan in a bit for the SRFs?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we shall see you then. Good luck for that. That's your race winner here today, Megan Overstreet. Charles, who have you managed to grab to have a bit of a chat with?
Well, let's talk to our Masters Class winner, Antonio Reyes. Antonio, congratulations on the Masters Class win, P4 overall. We were talking during the race about not sure if the undercut was the best strategy. This track doesn't have a lot of drafting areas, but it seemed like you made it work okay.
Hello, good night. Well, I did try to do something different. So, well, I was trying to get out of the traffic, so I was a little afraid of some accident or something. So I tried to get a clean run with a clean track, and then that was happening. So I was kind of a safe driving after the pits.
Yep, definitely looked like that was the right call because we had a lot of off-track excursions during the race. Then we were looking the last, seemed like the last 10 laps. It was basically you and Jason Green were basically stapled to each other. I mean, there wasn't much between you two.
Yeah, we was communicating on the mic, so I was trying to keep safe, not have any issues. So I end up passing him on the last corner. He didn't expect, but so it did work for me. I was kind of a surprise. I didn't expect to work that kind of maneuver, but well, it did work well. I was surprised and happy, and then Jason was congratulating me for passing him, and it was a cool move.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Congratulations on your Masters Class win, P4.
Thanks much.
Next up, we've got, well, arguably in some ways the driver of the day up 9 positions. Trenton Kramer joins us now. Trenton, congratulations. I mean, what a cracking race. Started at the back and ended up finishing inside the top 10 and, well, on the podium in Spec 2 too.
Yeah, it was a great race. A lot of problems in qualifying and at the beginning of the race, but adding some fuel back to the car for the start really helped me.
Exactly, and I mean, do you think it was just where you were able to capitalize on other people's misfortune a bit today, or even so, you seem to be setting some really good lap times and consistent lap times out there too?
Yeah, I had a lot of problems with the car kind of going in and understeering really badly, and then it would just snap and oversteer on me. So I decided, you know what, let's just throw race fuel into it. It really weighed down the rear end just a little bit, gave me some more drive out of the corners, and once I got comfortable with having the fuel back into it, it was just consistent lap times, kept turning them, got into the 127s. I was really happy with that, and I was able to hit that mark actually quite a few times. And with the pace that I was running versus where I qualified, I was just able to pick up all them places.
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, looking at your sort of fastest lap times, you were, within a second of Megan and Jao. So, I mean, absolutely a cracking result for yourself. And, well, I mean, congratulations. 9 places and inside the top 10. And podiuming class, it's Trenton Kramer. And, well, got just about enough time for Jim Brewster for yourself, Charles.
Yeah, Jim, P3 in the Masters class. So getting that
Yep.
final step on the podium. Great race by you.
Well, you know, my car did about as well as it could with the driver it had.
I feel that statement every time I get behind the wheel, Jim.
Yep. I had a good battle with Trenton, and Trenton got away with me, and Tom was catching me, and then we were on different pit strategies, and I was out ahead of him, and then he made a mistake late, but yeah, it was a good day. It's a slippery joint.
Yeah, it really is. We did see a lot of landscaping during the course of the race today, but you managed to finish P10. Like I said, got that final step on the podium. So
You bet.
all right,
Yeah,
congratulations.
Hey, thanks to you guys. Thanks again.
Yes, sir.
See you next week.
All right.
Okay, so Jim Brewster, they finished 3rd in Masters and just inside the top 10. A crucial 10th place. But, well, that's all we've got time for the Formula Fords coming up in about 15 minutes' time. It's the turn of the Ford Spec Racers. Got the right word in there, but it's in the wrong place. Well, make sure you join us for that. We're going to head across to Japan. Fuji for that one. Big action as always. But, well, astounding race here today. Overstreet running out winner. Antian Race carrying on his rich vein of form. And, of course, Michael McConnell on his debut, picking up that victory. Astounding stuff. But from South, Tim Cox, Charles Bushell, and Samina Kumi. Thanks very much for joining us. For the Formula Fords, we'll see you in a week, but we'll see you in 50 minutes' time for the Ford Spec Racers. Goodbye.